The coup in Chile took place on September 11, 1973, when the democratically elected government of President Salvador Allende was violently overthrown by the Chilean armed forces led by General Augusto Pinochet, marking the end of Chile's long tradition of constitutional democracy. Allende, a physician and lifelong Marxist politician, had come to power in 1970 at the head of a leftist coalition called Unidad Popular, which aimed to build socialism through peaceful and legal means. His government nationalized key industries, most notably the copper mines that were largely controlled by U.S. companies, expropriated large estates to distribute land to peasants, and implemented ambitious social programs to reduce poverty and inequality. These measures gained popular support among workers and the poor but provoked intense resistance from business elites, conservative political forces, and segments of the middle class who feared economic collapse and loss of property. The U.S. administration of Richard Nixon, viewing Allende's government as a threat to American interests and an example that could inspire other leftist movements in Latin America, approved covert actions through the CIA to destabilize the country economically and politically, including funding opposition media and political parties, promoting strikes, and obstructing foreign loans. By 1973, Chile was in severe crisis. Inflation soared above 500%, food and fuel were scarce, supply chains were paralyzed by strikes such as the truckers' strike of October 1972, and street clashes between supporters and opponents of the government were increasingly frequent. The Chilean military, traditionally seen as a neutral institution, gradually became politicized under the pressure of internal divisions and external encouragement. On the morning of the coup, coordinated military units occupied radio stations, cut communications, and arrested members of the government. Navy units secured Valparaiso, while the Air Force bombed the presidential palace, La Moneda, with British-made Hawker Hunter jets, creating an iconic and devastating scene. Inside the palace, Allende gathered his closest collaborators and refused to surrender, delivering his last speech over Radio Magallanes, in which he defended his mandate and expressed hope for a better future before reportedly taking his own life with an assault rifle given to him by Fidel Castro. After the military seized power, a four-man junta was established, though Pinochet quickly consolidated his leadership and imposed a state of siege. Thousands of suspected leftists, trade unionists, and activists were rounded up in stadiums and detention centers, such as the National Stadium in Santiago, where many were tortured or executed. The regime dissolved Congress, banned political parties, censored the press, and imposed strict curfews and military tribunals. Over 3,000 people were killed or disappeared during the dictatorship, and tens of thousands were imprisoned or forced into exile. Meanwhile, Pinochet's government embraced radical neoliberal economic reforms advised by the Chicago Boys, resulting in the privatization of pensions, health care, and education, as well as the liberalization of markets and the reduction of state intervention in the economy. These measures were credited with eventually stabilizing the economy and achieving growth, but they also produced deep social inequality and widespread poverty among the most vulnerable sectors of the population. The coup had a profound impact on global perceptions of the Cold War and U.S. foreign policy, sparking debates about interventionism and human rights. In Chile, the legacy of the coup continues to shape political life, memory, and debates about justice and reconciliation, as many survivors and families of victims still seek truth and accountability for the crimes committed during Pinochet's rule.